This journey of the script to me was surprising indeed, because it's a Hollywood I hadn't seen before. I don't think most people have. We all know there was a silent era. We all know that talkies came in. We've seen that story depicted in one way or another. But we've never really understood what it was like, what it felt like, what the texture of this society was, what it felt like inside. And Damien takes us there. He takes us to Hollywood, Los Angeles, 1920s, which was a very open society, a very free-spirited society. It was the Wild West, really. Damien always has the movie in his head, literally frame by frame. But he does have a unique and exquisite talent of marrying camera to his story, marrying design to his story, integrating all those disparate pieces into the way he tells the story in every frame. Damien has a great eye. His production designer, Flo Martin, has an extraordinary eye. And so recreating the feeling, the texture, the dust, the heat, the desert, the orange groves, all of that, we were able to do with some really innovative thinking and really smart location finding. What's really interesting about LA, both in the city and in the outskirts that I allude to, is that there are still present buildings, edifices, architecture of the time. So if one can find that street corner with the right architecture and look in a certain direction and the palm trees are there, you can literally be transported back to 1920s. The immersive quality of this film, the cinema, the sheer cinematic language of it, the sound, the music, the visual, is in fact immersive. And the experience of seeing it on the big screen is going to be unlike any other. Reading the script, it was hard not to envision that the perfect marriage of actor to role would be Brad Pitt to Jack Conrad. He's a character that really believes in what he's doing, but he does so with a sense of humor. And he has no pretension about him, even though he has pretension in a way that for which we have great affection for him, because he believes in his art form, even though some of what he is really, because of the silent era, just a very, very handsome face. And there is something meta about Brad Pitt playing a character like that, and yet it's a character you haven't seen Brad play before. When we speak about perfect marriages of actor or actress, in this instance to a role, I can't think of anybody but Margot who possesses the same kind of fearlessness in how she approaches all her roles, but how she approached the role of Nellie Leroy. She threw herself into it so completely, which is necessary to pull off a character who is completely unbridled in her lust and her drive for success, for life, to live on the extremes as she does without a care in the world, to be in your face, and yet to have enough of a soul underneath that we root for her, despite all her bawdiness and aggressiveness. And not only was Margot fearless in creating this role, in bringing to life what was on the page in a way that I can't imagine anybody else, she was also just such a professional in the way she approached it. There was no task too great, no direction too daunting, no turn she wouldn't take to explore this character, to take her to her limits, because it's a character who lives out on the limits, but does it on her terms. And Margot is breathtaking in the role. The character of Manny is literally the eyes of the audience. He's someone who's an outsider trying very hard to get into Hollywood. And that's very aspirational for many people. We're all sort of hooked on celebrity and Hollywood and storytelling. And so he has this presence, and he talks to us with his eyes in a way that was very appealing, very relatable, and very accessible, because Manny has to be very accessible. He's also very authentic to playing a character whose family crossed the border from Mexico, who's an outsider, trying very hard to fit in, to find his niche, to find an opportunity, which is what the character does. When audiences go to the theater, because it will be an event to go to see this sprawling film, and it will be so satisfying and so unlike anything they've experienced before, that it will be one for the ages, I think, and one that demands to be seen in the theaters, to be experienced, and to be remembered in that way.